The episode I will be analyzing for this video is titled White Bear. For this video analysis, I will be discussing the strategic use of mise-en-scene in relation to angle of framing, costumes, and semiotics, and how it conveys the barbaric and unorthodox punishment geared towards criminals for the sake of societal entertainment. The scene in particular we will be focusing on is Victoria being forced to travel the woods to be tortured for the amusement of others. We first begin with Victoria being unmasked and is horrified of what she is presented in front of her. Although we don't immediately see what she sees at first, the shot focuses on Victoria, who is the center of attention, indicating that it is her that is the primary concern for the audience. Jem and Baxter remain in the background, both wearing camouflage, which they both blend in the background, making Victoria the center attraction. We cut to Victoria's point of view and seeing long shots of ladders, ropes, and effigies, which I will get to later. The use of point of view allows us to see what Victoria sees and puts us in her shoes to give us a chance to empathize with her as she is interpreting her foreign environment. Ominous music plays in the background as the camera scrolls across the field, which indicates that she is in danger, as well as providing tense ambience for the scene. We cut back to Victoria, who is further processing the field before her and how unfamiliar her setting is, later providing how ironic this shot will be later in the episode. A single noose appears in the transitioning shot. The prevalent use of ropes in this scene emphasizes how Victoria is unable to escape her punishment. The empty noose represents how suicide is not a possible option, as well as the unattainable escape of her punishment. We then slide towards a crucified individual wearing white and a mask. I will get to the use of crucified figures later in this video. Our next point of interest is the debris with smoke coming out. Later in the episode, we come to find out that Victoria was an accomplice for an arson murder. Though the audience never experienced the event, we only get to see the aftermath, hence the smoke. We get yet another close-up of Victoria's face. This repetitive use of back and forth shots between what Victoria sees and her expressions foreshadows how she repeats the process every day without realizing that she has already gone through this process. We shift our focus to yet another shot of a different figure dressed in white with a mask over her head. Rather than going back to a close-up of Victoria's face, we then get a close-up of Baxter's and Jem's face with focus on Baxter's face to signal a sinister event to come. The shot cuts to an establishing shot of what Victoria has seen, with the ritual site being in the center, as that is the next location she is headed towards. We get a canted, low-angle view from Victoria's perspective of a masked crucified figure. The use of low-angle shots throughout the scene is a representation of Victoria being judged for what she has done. As we saw earlier before, there are a lot of crucified figures throughout this scene, and this can be interpreted how this society has a sense of self-righteousness and punish those who committed sins, even as far as torturing a woman who has no recollection of what she has done. This scene has also went and used canted angles. The purpose of the use of canted angles creates a different perspective for the audience to indicate that the world presented to us is not what it seems. It's also symbolic of how the audience has a different perspective than the spectators. As you may notice so far is that the crucified figures are tied rather than nailed. The rope motif is symbolic of how Victoria is trapped and therefore cannot escape her punishment. The color brown and the symbolism of ropes is also seen on her wrist and on her drawstrings. I'll discuss about the use of colors and costume choice for this scene. As mentioned before, the color gray is used to deviate Victoria from her surroundings, making her the center of attention. However, the color gray also represents moral ambiguity. For example, the introduction of point of view as well as facial shots of Victoria's expressive agony allows us to have a sense of remorse and sympathy towards her. However, since she has committed a crime, it can be difficult to see what is right or wrong in her case. Jem and Baxter, on the other hand, both wear green to blend in with the foliage in the background, but it could also represent money, as we later learn they profit from her misery. The usage of framing, costumes, and semiotic offers a unique perspective of the treatment of criminals and whether it is right to use them for personal entertainment and financial gain. We have seen the director use low-angle framing to put Victoria as a helpless victim who is seen as inferior to the current society. Costume and semiotic offers insight about this society that entrapped unpunished Victoria and offers consideration of whether it is right to punish someone in this form or even consider if it's right to focus on criminals and their acts.